Okay, RAT-7 by Ontario. I know RAT Cutlery also makes an RC6, RC4. A lot of you guys ask, hey, is RC6 a good survival blade? I'm going to say that probably my minimum size would be this RC7, 7-inch blade, and that's because of how I do my tasks in the great out of doors, which I'm going to show you now. Now, I don't waste time and energy generally hacking through wood with a survival blade. However, I think it's a good demonstration of the blade itself and what its capabilities are, and there might be a situation where you just have to do it. Maybe your sawiver breaks or something like that, or you lost it and your survival knife is all you have with you. And just so you know, a good survival knife should be able to do all your wilderness tasks. Now, I'm going to compare the RAT-7 against one of my favorites, the Cold Steel Recon Scout, which is a very well put together blade, one of my favorites, and I've spoken a lot about it, but just as a review, it's a 1/4-inch slab of steel, full flat ground in a wedge-like shape, terminating in a very sharp edge. Of course, I reprofile mine for a 20-degree cutting angle. That makes them even better shearing knives, as I've demonstrated in other videos. Anyways, by the way, check this out. You know, that's why you have to use WD-40. See that sap as I hack through that tree? You get sap and stuff stuck to your blade, so your WD-40 is critical. So I'm just going to soak that, and that allows your blade to lubricate and cut through wood better. But we've talked about the Recon Scout a lot. This is actually time for the RAT-7. There is a review video I've done already on this. Please refer to that. I talk about the specifics. Not a huge fan of the sheath, and by the way, on all these Ontario rat knives, it does not retain without the retention strap. So anytime you put it in there, always snap that retention strap up nice and tight. That way you don't lose your blade, or actually it drops out and you try to catch it and end up slicing the tendons in your finger. Not so cool. So let's go through this tree with this RAT-7, see how it performs. Now initially, as I take it out, I can tell you already that the RAT-7 does not have the heft of a Recon Scout, and that's because it's not a 1/4 inch thick. It's probably 3/16 of an inch thick. I don't remember exactly, but it's decent, but it doesn't have that full wedge capability perhaps a Recon Scout does. Let's avoid that knot. I mean, let's not make our life any more difficult than we have to. Very impressed with its cutting capability, actually. It's doing quite well. Now granted, this is a light enough piece of wood. I know I could break this easily. I could step on it right now, but we're demonstrating cutting performance here. By the way, notice how I notch. Anytime you're cutting with a survival knife, you're just going to notch with it like I'm demonstrating here. I always wear gloves too. Not that that'll protect your finger, but it's a lot of wear and tear on your hands, all this woodwork I'm doing. Unless your hands are used to it, you're going to get blisters. Oops, went in the ground. That's our RAT-7 by Ontario. We're going to split some logs with that now. So let me see how much time I got left, and we'll baton away. Yeah, I got time. All right, here's a log here, already pre-cut by my sawiver. And let me readjust my tripod here. Bear with me as I do this. I don't want to have to restart it, nor do you want me to restart it, because that's a separate video. Also, guys, I hope you don't mind. I don't really have time to produce these. Put them in iMovie or Movie Maker or whatever. I just throw it out there. I rely on my content, not my production, really, for making it entertaining. How is that? All right, now, you've noticed that I've talked about the length. 7 inches is indeed my minimum, and here we see why. I like to process bigger logs. Now granted, I understand and I'm totally on board with the guys that say, hey, you know what, I can baton through the edge and you can. And actually with this RAT-7 I'm going to have to. I don't think it's big enough of a blade for me to go to the center. I may try it just for the heck of it. We'll see what happens, but I understand that. However, if I get a shorter blade, like a 4-inch blade, 6-inch blade, one, it does not have the heft to do the kind of cutting I just demonstrated with the RAT-7 going through this. You can do it, but it's a lot more work. The more heft you have to your blade, the easier that chopping task is going to be. That's just a fact of physics. Also, the full flat grind is my favorite in the out of doors because I need that wedge shape. I don't want the nonsense compound grinds that if given a choice, I'd prefer that full flat grind. And by the compound I mean where we start grinding to the terminating edge about mid spine. And actually the K-bar is like that, although I say the K-bar is a fairly decent all-around blade, and at least it's been proven by me as such in my stuff. So let's baton through this and see how it goes. Now we just cut through that. You can see I already have some sap on the blade. Time to WD-40 again. The reason I say this is because from my experience it's real easy to get your blade caught in the middle of that log and you just have a big nightmare on your hands. So here we go. And I already have a baton cut, more or less. Now when I do this, I'm going to start on the edge here for my first cut. Make sure my full blade's there. Actually, that's not it. Now you can see what I'm talking about. See how my non-cutting edge buried in there? So I'm going to have to even come out further. This is the disadvantage of a shorter survival knife, including this RAT-7. And I'm intentionally using a larger log here to show the limitations of the length of blade. Now, see, I did it again. I'm still hitting this non-cutting edge in my cut, so that's not too cool. And stupidly, I didn't make a flat cut on my log, and so you can see how I'm having some troubles keeping it stable. Let me try this right here. It's not straight. I want a nice straight thrust through there. Okay, now I do have enough of a tip showing here. I think it'll be adequate. But again, you see a longer blade like a Trailmaster, a Becker 9, maybe RAT 2. Man, we're going to have a lot more real estate to work with. This is all I've got with this RAT-7. So let's see how it works. Not too bad. Also, as I baton, I'm very forcefully coming down on the handle as I hit that tip, and I'm providing that downward force to make the split. My baton kind of sucks too. There we go. Check my time. And I can't even see it. All right, about a minute and a half. All right, let's do a couple more. And this wood, as you can tell, is not the highest quality wood. There is some rot in it. It's good enough for demonstration purposes. Not going to make a fire today. The fire thread up here is too high. There's a knot right there. Let's see how it handles that. There, we're in the knot. Bust right through it. So, how do I evaluate the RAT-7 compared to all the other survival blades I've used? It's decent. I'll probably give it an 8 out of 10. Just because it's not as thick as the Recon Scout, and therefore it doesn't have the same wedge capabilities. But as you can see, it's more than sufficient to do survival tasks like wood processing, and it has the advantage of being lighter weight. Also, it will excel in any other camp task you have for it, like food preparation, probably even meat preparation as well. For the money you're going to pay for an Ontario RAT-7, it's a very, very good deal. Great blade.